Hey everyone, it's Susan Pierce Thompson and welcome to the weekly vlog. I am sitting here with Ocean Robbins, my dear friend and colleague, and Ocean is my guest on today's vlog. Welcome, Ocean.
Thank you. It is great to be with you.
Oh, we're partnered up right now, actually. Ocean is CEO of the Food Revolution Network, and we are joining together right now in September to bring the food freedom videos to the widest audience possible. And we've been like scheming together for several months, his team, my team, figuring out how to release this information on a mass scale. And right now, well over 100,000 people are getting access to the food freedom videos because of our partnership. So it's super exciting.
It is really exciting. I mean, the Food Revolution Network, for those of you who don't know, is committed to healthy, sustainable, humane, and delicious food for everybody. It's a pretty big mission. One of the things that is critical to that mission is helping people to have authorship over their food choices so that they get to be the chooser of what they eat. And as Susan's work has shown to me so powerfully, so many people are not physically feeling able to make the choices that are in their own best interests until they understand the principles that she's bringing forth to the world. So I love that you are helping people to truly claim food freedom. And we're helping them to use that food freedom in a way that transforms their health and their world. And together, I think we're changing a lot of lives. And
We
that's
sure
such a
are.
joy.
It is. And so what we're here to talk about is the food revolution, because I talk a lot about being the author of your own destiny when it comes to food, but bite by bite, purchase by purchase, as we change from eating that food to that food, we're changing the world as well. So Ocean, can you tell us, please, I want you to help share with my tribe here a little bit, what's new and exciting in the food revolution? Like what's happening out there that we may or may not be aware of? What's the cutting edge?
So much. I mean, first of all, it's probably not big news to anybody watching that we live in a toxic food culture where it's considered normal to eat food that's been saturated with pesticides and hormones and antibiotics, as well as with processed junk and added sugars and flours and all kinds of things that are actually toxic to our bodies. And we know the costs that right now in the United States, toxic food is killing about 650,000 Americans each year, which is more than died in World Wars I, II, Vietnam, both Iraq wars, the Afghanistan war, all combined. That's every single year in the U.S. So we know the costs that we're paying for this toxic food culture. But what I think is so exciting is that the food revolution is actually about creating something different. And we're seeing that happening. I mean, last year, McDonald's closed 600 restaurants.
They did?
They did. They closed 600 restaurants.
Get out of here.
And they're now realizing that if they don't make some big changes, they're in some big trouble. So they're actually now pioneering, they're piloting, putting some kale in their restaurants. And they're saying that they're not going to be buying chickens in a few years down the road that were raised with antibiotics. And this is not because McDonald's had some epiphany and was like, oh my God, let's become a health food company. No, they're responding to marketplace forces, the same marketplace forces that have caused sugary cereal consumption in the United States to drop by 20% in the last 15 years. The same forces that have caused organic food sales to quadruple in those same years, and that are causing farmers markets and community-supported agriculture programs to skyrocket, that are taking natural foods into our grocery stores, not just our health food stores, but into our supermarkets.
Yeah.
You know, we're seeing this revolution taking place. More and more people are sick of being sick. We're fed up with toxic food, and change is happening. It's happening really fast. We have 10 states that have banned gestational crates for pigs. These are horribly cruel crates where mother pigs are not allowed to take a single step, and they're raped, and then they have baby after baby, and they're not allowed to move. And this is the normal conditions for mother pigs. But in 10 states, gestational crates have been banned, as well as the entire European Union.
Wow.
In the United States, we have genetically modified organisms, which are pretty rampant in our food supply. And, you know, we could argue till the cows come home about what GMOs are. But I'll tell you this, in the hands of Monsanto and the other biotechnology companies, what we have in the actual food supply with GMOs is crops that are resistant to herbicides like Roundup, which is a probable carcinogen, and or that produce Bt, which is an insecticide in every cell of the plant. They're not leading to better yields or more drought resistance. They're leading to more pesticides, and they're leading to the consolidation of the control of the food supply in the hands of a few corporations. So what I think is exciting, that's the bad news, right? The good news, though, is that actual consumption and cultivation of GMO crops in the United States has gone down in the last 2 years.
Really?
After going up steadily for 25 years straight. Because I think more and more people care. And, you know, non-GMO certified products has gone from nothing to over $10 billion in sales in the last 5 years.
What
So-
percentage of Americans care about GMOs or don't want GMOs, or like they say that they would rather buy non-GMOs?
Yeah,
Do you know?
about 90% of
About
the American
90%,
public
right?
would like to see GMOs labeled.
Okay.
And about half the American public says they'd rather not eat GMOs.
Yeah.
Most people aren't terribly informed about what a GMO is. Some people think it means God move over, but it actually means genetically modified organism. But, you know, education is happening. It's spreading, right? People are learning.
Okay, I'll let that one go. Yeah, I was surprised about that many people care or, you know, think that GMO labeling is a good idea. And, you know, it's interesting to live in the society where you can feel the food revolution happening. I see it mostly at my grocery store.
Yeah.
So I shop at a place called Pittsford Wegmans, which I firmly believe is the best grocery store in the whole world. It's a place where when people visit from out of town, not just me, but everyone who lives in this town takes our visitors to see our grocery store. But just in the last month, they have totally revamped their shelves. They used to have this section of the grocery store that was a health food section. And then the rest of the grocery store was sort of business as usual. And what they've done is they've dismantled most of the health food section to put those products out onto the shelves so that when you're buying salsa, you have the organic, you know, non-GMO, whatever salsa right there, because they're saying that the average consumer these days wants that. And so what they had been doing for years was having the organic salsa in both places, which was wasteful for their shelf space.
Yeah.
So they said we could stock a whole bunch more products if we had only the organic products only distributed throughout the store with all the other products that were there. And it's interesting that what they say is that the food revolution has taken over to the point that these foods that used to be considered health foods or specialty foods are now considered the regular foods, and we need to consider them as such. It's you can see the march of the food revolution happening right in front of your eyes.
Yeah, I mean, people are creating revolutionary change really fast.
Kale at McDonald's?
Yeah, I mean, it's being tested. We'll see. I don't know if McDonald's consumers are on the leading edge of the
kale
food
is
revolution.
good, yo. We had kale for breakfast and lunch today. I just want to say, dinner's coming up, but we ate kale for breakfast and lunch, and it was good.
It was good. It was
really
really good.
good.
It's very good. So you know, and that reminds me of another, I think, critically important point in the food revolution, which is that we're making all kinds of discoveries right now. Science keeps coming out with new medical studies showing us in no uncertain terms that there are some superfoods. Some foods that just the more we eat of them, you know, the healthier populations are going to be. Like take mushrooms, for example. A study recently came out which found that consuming the equivalent of about 3 button mushrooms a day will reduce your risk of cancer, breast cancer, for women by 64%.
When I heard that from you, I started eating mushrooms.
Yeah.
I was like, my family is rampant with breast cancer.
Yeah.
Mushrooms and green tea, right?
So
Mushrooms and green tea.
if women who consumed green tea on a daily basis, as well as their three plus mushrooms a day, 91% drop in breast cancer risk.
91%.
91%.
Crazy.
So if you got breast
Crazy.
cancer in your family and you're worried about it, green tea and mushrooms are a really good idea.
Yeah.
And there's other foods too. I mean, kale. We talked about all the leafy greens. You know, I mean, they're so healthy. Turmeric. Has phenomenal health benefits. A lot of these things, the same foods that are good for fighting cancer are also good for fighting dementia, Alzheimer's.
Yes.
They're also good for fighting heart disease and strokes, and often they're associated with weight loss.
Yeah.
You know, so as we have food freedom, as we step into authorship over our food lives, one of the things we can do is populate our diets with some of those really healthy foods that will really help us to thrive. And when we do, we are really sending a signal to ourselves. I love you, I care about you, and I'm going to be here for a good long time.
And just to say, every single one of the superfoods is on the Bright Line Eating food plan. Like, by definition, we eat, you know, you have the option in Bright Line Eating of eating less healthy options. For example, you could, you know, populate your vegetable choices with peas and corn and your fruit options with watermelon and whatever. But, you know, if you want to, you can pick blueberries and kale and mushrooms and, you know, onions and garlic and all of those delicious, you know, superfoods all the time if you want to.
Yeah.
It's and that's what's cool about Bright Line Eating is that you get that sugar and flour out of your system, and then you get a food plan that basically says pretty much every whole natural food in the world is yours to choose among. And now all of a sudden you have this food plan that allows for categories and quantities of foods to be swapped out. Sort of like, okay, well, I'm going to be eating vegetables for lunch and vegetables for dinner. So which ones am I going to choose? And how do I learn how to cook them in, you know, cool ways? And, you know, the constant reminder of this is what I eat. This is what I eat. This is what I eat. And it's awesome, I think, to experience first of all, the happiness. I got to say, I've been really, really happy lately. I've been on a string of days where you know, I sometimes at the end of the day, I think, how happy was I today on a scale from 1 to 10? And I've had a string of 10s just, and I feel like the universe is kind of saying like, how much bliss can you stand, Susan? Like really, how good can you allow your life to get? And
So awesome.
it's the way that I eat, you
Yeah.
know, like you eat
Yeah.
this way. And there's research that shows that you take teenagers, grumpy, unhappy teenagers, and you feed them vegetables for a day. And then the next day they're really, really happy.
Yeah.
And there's no mystery about it, you know?
Yeah.
And so anyway, I just want to thank you, Ocean, for being a part of this vlog. I love you to bits. You're just one of my
Thank you.
favorite people on this planet.
Thank you,
I
Susan.
so respect the work that you're doing in this world. And thank you for educating me and my tribe about what's current and new in the food revolution. And we didn't talk about all the details of what he was going to share. So I'm stunned to hear that McDonald's is shutting restaurants and thinking about putting kale in their food. Anyone who wants to write a letter to McDonald's and say, go kale, yeah, feel free.
Absolutely. And let me just add too, because I think it's so important that, you know, we can focus so often in life on what's wrong. You know, and in the food revolution, we focus a lot on, you know, factory farms and really unsustainable agricultural practices and all the ways that our hyper-processed food is killing people. But what's so exciting is what we want.
Yeah.
Is stepping into what's possible and the power of thriving. You know, the power of having vibrant energy, of bouncing out of bed in the morning and being excited and being mentally alert. And what it means to thrive long term. To create a diet that statistically, I mean, of course everyone can have suffering in life. Of course we're all going to die, right? But as long as we're here, what does it mean to have the most joy and the most vibrancy and the most aliveness that we possibly can? And to have our mental function be preserved and to have our vibrancy and our skeletal structure be preserved. And, you know, a healthy diet is absolutely fundamental to that. You know, it's the cornerstone. So thank you for all your incredible work. And thank you for being a part of Susan's community of Bright Line Eating. Together, we're changing the world one bite at a time, one step at a time. And we're doing it together.
There's no doubt about it. We're doing it together. So if you have something you want me to address on the weekly vlog, just send it in. I'm at susan@brightlineeating.com. This is Susan Pierce Thompson and Ocean Robbins signing off. Have a great week, everyone.
Have a great week.